I used to live on 18th and Dumanil.
This is a step up from Audrey's previous home life. Like many homeless people interviewed, I have agreed to not disclose her last name. Audrey had no choice but to turn to the streets of Louisville, Kentucky.
I had a hard time because my baby's father was over that way. So purposely I stayed there for a while and then I had to move.
After being homeless for a little over a year, Audrey was able to find an apartment, but a month later was evicted. Now she stays in Hotel Louisville downtown for days at a time.
It took me a long time finding another apartment. I stayed over here at a Salvation Army, and then I moved over here at Louisville Hotel over across the street.
When being homeless, you have to know things about living on the streets because
when you're homeless, you have to understand things that you make it on your own, like your own official.
Audrey has stayed in many different shelters but recommends a few to get through the night if they are not full, such as
Salvation Army and a Wayside Mission.
Like many homeless people like Audrey, they are actively looking for housing, stability, and a strong support system, while some have grown accustomed to being homeless. Owen has been living on the streets for 2 years, and he hasn't always been homeless.
I'm homeless because after my divorce, my life dwindled down. I started doing drugs that I never used before and stuff like that.
Owen says nights can be unbearable at times. He claims that it gets very cold as he tries to find shelter in a very short time.
It gets real cold out here, and you're alone. You don't have nobody.
When Owen hit rock bottom, he had suicidal thoughts. He believed that life as he knew it was over.
I wanted to commit suicide and everything when it first happened. Like, I never expected it to happen to me, and I just wanted to give up. But after the first couple weeks, I got used to it. And now it's like I'm surviving it.
Owen wants to get his life back on track, but currently believes he is out of options.
I don't like this life. Everybody asks me, what, do you like being out there or something? No, I don't like being out here. It's just right now I don't have a choice.
Most of the homeless population here in Louisville, Kentucky sleep in shelters, cars, and public parks like this one, Central Park in Old Louisville. Last year, the Coalition for the Homeless estimated that nearly 7,000 people are homeless in the city of Louisville. That number is dropping. The latest city survey shows that the homeless population has decreased roughly by 12% since 2014. In Louisville, the homeless have many resources and have not been neglected. Some organizations and people are working hard to help the homeless in their time of need, such as Executive Director of the Coalition for the Homeless, Natalie Harris.
The Coalition for the Homeless, we are the overarching agency for all the different homeless agencies that serve the homeless community here in Louisville.
Over 30 agencies, including Dare to Care, Salvation Army, and Volunteers of America, Kentucky, all play a part when providing resources for the homeless, including shelters for those in dire times.
If the temperature is going to get below 35 or above 95 on any day, then the Bed One Stop notifies the 3 shelters that open up additional space, which are Salvation Army, St. Vincent de Paul, and Wayside, and they begin to take extra people for that night.
The homeless not only have access to a bed for the night, but also Louisville Street Tips, a booklet filled with resources for people who may be and not limited to
victim of domestic violence or a disabled person and need to know how to get those services, health care, legal aid,
and so much more.
We have about 7 emergency shelters that are open for evening housing. So each of those will fill up each night.
The coalition not only helps people find shelter, it also provides the resources to find food.
Louisville is really blessed as far as places to get a free meal.
Many of the homeless population have access to places that provide 1 to 3 meals a day. The Salvation Army is located on Brook Street closest to downtown. David Yarmouth has been the program director at the Salvation Army since 2012. He overlooks the staff of cooks and has really grown fond to working with the homeless population at the Salvation Army.
Working in general with the Salvation Army has been an absolutely incredible experience because it's really opened my eyes to really the true problem that we face in this community. And I think when you talk to folks who have never been part of working in a shelter or working in a social service agency, they only know what they know.
Which is what most people see in stereotypes about homelessness. David serves those in need 7 days a week.
We do between 300 and 400 meals a day,
which includes breakfast and dinner.
Everybody knows the Salvation Army, but the question is, what do they know about the Salvation Army? And every time I do presentations, I always open with that question.
What do you know about the Salvation Army? David says that the Salvation Army offers a culinary arts program, veteran care, disaster relief, and so much more. Being homeless is not a choice, and most of the time difficult. David understands that people who are homeless deserve the same respect as anyone else. People like Shanika can agree, as she has witnessed how some people treat the homeless.
Oh, I think it's bad. I think everybody puts different titles on homeless people because of their situations. You know, they're just normal people like everybody else.
There are those who even come in and volunteer, giving back and helping out the community when they can.
People who have come in and volunteered, whether it be during Christmas time or here in our kitchen serving a meal, you finally get to put a face with the homelessness and realize that these are just everyday good people.
Good people who have fallen on hardships and are trying to make it just to get by.
Thankfully, through our volunteers and the great staff that we have here, we're able to meet, even if it's just providing that hot meal, it's a very powerful thing.
On the national level, the Salvation Army serves 60 million meals to anyone in need and counting. David says it doesn't matter your religion, race, or background. People need someone or something.
It doesn't matter who you are, and if you don't have a place to stay, if we have a bed for you, we're going to provide that safe shelter for you. It doesn't matter who you are, what religion, what race, what background you come from, rich, poor, it doesn't matter.
And Natalie can agree.
And I think that's the thing we forget. We see the person down and out, and we don't understand that they're just like us, that each of the people that we see that are homeless on the street is our neighbor. They're somebody that, you know, has parents.
There's somebody's mother, there's somebody's father.
Sisters and brothers and kids just like us.
They're just everyday people. These are our neighbors.
But all of that's been forgotten because this experience has just snowballed into a point that they can't get back to where they were before.
And the job is not over, as more and more people are becoming homeless each day. Along with the Coalition and Salvation Army, other organizations are building onto the blueprints to end homelessness in phases and steps here in Louisville. If you would like to receive additional information and are looking to get involved, there will be links attached. This has been Breon Martin.